public comments, but I do not. We're going to continue because we're going to move on to 13, which is our Silicon Valley CTE-featured program, which is Mechatronics. Come on down.
And everybody knows Jim because we go to his classroom.
Yes.
Although my last experience with Jim was being terrified in his haunted house.
That's
Oh, yeah, I went through that.
Oh, yeah, I went that too.
There better be a flamethrowing dog in that bag.
All right, thank you for having me here. I'm kind of excited. I actually have one student. We'll introduce Connor in just a minute, and he'll be able to tell you a little bit about stuff too. So I won't take very much time and give him a little bit of time to talk to you guys. As you know, I teach mechatronics, and that is, of course, mecha and tronics, and you mash those together, it's fire-breathing robots. And so this class primarily is, it's a physics class, right? It meets the A to G requirements for physics. So my students, if they haven't taken physics or they need another science, they can substitute this class for that as well. We learn AC/DC circuits, so they learn to play with breadboards. We do some digital electronics. And with that, we learn how to program and play with microcontrollers. So we play with an Arduino, which is a little microcontroller, a Raspberry Pi, which is a little Linux computer, and other devices. We learn C++ and Python. Students will learn some 3D modeling and then be able to do some 3D printing. And already I've got students like just printing weird little things, because always there's some situation where a student will go, I'm trying to connect this thing up, and should I use duct tape or something? And I'm like, I wish there was a tool in this classroom. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. And then they'll go off and they'll do some little design to hold the little camera or whatever that they're trying to do. And we'll learn some programmable logic controllers. We have some industrial robot stuff, and we'll play around and learn some industrial robot things. And the years go great. My students over the years, I've noticed that they've just become more and more self-selecting. And so it's not like someone's telling them they have to go to this class. It's like they've self-selected. And so I feel like they're always excited to be here. We've already soldered a bunch of wire. We've learned C++. We've coded Arduinos. We've hacked a bunch of printers. We built the haunted house, did the haunted Halloween, and they've done a bunch of 3D printing. We have plans for guest speakers. We're going on a field trip next week. We're going to DuPont and Playground and be able to go see that DuPont has an innovation center, so they've got a really cool lab space, and we'll be able to see all the things they're doing and go through their labs and talk to their engineers. So we'll have an opportunity for our students to listen to 5 or 6 engineers talk about how they got to where they were. And I always like that because they start seeing engineers like them, right? And see themselves in that space. Playground is a really cool company. It's a combination VC, so venture capitalists, but also collaborative workspace. So they basically, not only do they help fund companies in the robots industry, they basically say, come here, you've got a space here, you've got some HR department, you've got cubes, you've got conference rooms, you've got lab space, and it's a really cool place. They do some really interesting things there. So our students are going to go there. We've got a lot more plans for some more guest speakers. LinkedIn experts. We're going to do our Flex Factor again this year, which is kind of a Shark Tank kind of presentation where my students will present some project that'll change the world, and they'll be in a Shark Tank environment with some engineers that will kind of query them and ask some questions about it. So it's a really authentic opportunity for them. We do Robot Club in class, and so every year I let my students have. They also then self-select some cool project that they want to work on, and sometimes those projects will last a week or two, and sometimes they're like the whole semester, and sometimes they're generational, where they're just building part of something that's going to continue to go. It's funny, our principal came to the classroom today, and came in and he was like, they're all working, they're all talking, they're all in little groups, and it's just really super great collaborative kind of work. And so I really like the opportunity I give them to do Robot Club as part of class. And then of course, some students are doing Skills USA and the robot competition, and that's their selected Robot Club kind of project. So Skills USA, a bunch of skills demos. We've been starting to do the Tech Museum has a tech challenge every year. Last year it was building a structure to protect from the wind, and so you had 27 empty soda cans, and then you had to build some structure with cardboard and whatever. But the structure had to fit in a backpack, and it could only be 12 ounces. So it was super light, and so it was a really hard engineering challenge for them to iterate on and change. This year it's taking a tennis ball and projecting it 3 different places, and you have to build some engineering things around this ball to make it land on these places. But because it's on the moon, you can't use anything that's aerodynamic or needs a parachute or anything like that. It's has to be different. And so again, it's these really interesting engineering challenges that they're gonna have to figure out how to do. So we do those competitions. We've had a number of donations that I'm starting to spend. Dr. Koo, thank you, Catherine, for setting that, getting us connected. He's funded some Robot Club projects and some soldering stations and things, so we're able to build out things in my classroom that work. We raised a little bit of money with the Halloween project. I just need to talk to Dorothy, how much Venmo stuff did we get? So we'll figure all that stuff out this next week. But I think about $500-600, right? And I had a donation. Thank you for approving it. I think last month for some equipment. Oh, tonight. There's some chip manufacturing equipment from Flex, and that'll let us do some new interesting things in the classroom. And then of course, CTE grants and things like that allow us to get textbooks and more hardware and cool things like that. Explore Vision is another project that we do that is again, students pick something that's going to change the world and really dive into the technology of it. Flex Factor, I talked about that. My hope for my students, right? I'm going to let Connor talk a little bit about why he joined this class and what motivated him and how he likes it. But my hope for my students, there's 2 places that I really focus. One, this is a really good class for them to learn some hands-on technical skills that they can go apply in labs and places in this valley without having to necessarily have a college engineering degree, right, 4-year degree. They'll know how to get into a lab and understand how to use an oscilloscope, and digital multimeters, and spectrum analyzers, and power supplies, and all that kind of stuff. And so right out of my class, I've had a number of students get hired in to some of these places where they weren't sure if they were going to be going to college or not, but they were able to get some really interesting high-tech kind of jobs. And then a couple of them had a little time and space, and now they're going off to get their engineering degree. So, and so for those that know that they're going to go into some engineering program, this is also a super awesome class for them, right? It really gives them some good fundamentals. I also almost feel like I'm tricking them because we get so much hands-on stuff, and then they go to some engineering program, and that freshman year, it's all this is math, and we don't get to do any fun projects. And it's no, you will. But I really tell my students that it's lifelong learning, and they need to just figure out projects to do and just build on those things that they learned in my class. And so I wanted to give Connor an opportunity to talk a little bit, and I'll let you query things with him.
Hi, my name is Connor Nguyen. I am from Burnham High School. I'm in the San Jose Unified District. I I really like this class for two reasons. The teacher, Mr. Burnham himself, is a very understanding teacher. He's very connected. I don't see this like he really connects with that. Sorry, my throat. Connects with us students. As we ask him for help, he actually takes the time to sit down and talks. Oh, this is what you need to do to get this thing working.
And take your time. Don't worry about any clock. Take your time.
Oh, okay.
Take your time.
Then I'll take let's see here. Ooh, I'm thinking. I'm so sorry.
No, I apologize. Yeah.
Yeah. Explore Vision, like you said earlier, my group is working on a project to help clean lakes and rivers, as they have seen a lot of pollution over there, from water, from microplastics in the water to big plastics. My team especially has developed, have made a blueprint for a machine that will grab the garbage and use the garbage itself as fuel, so it's self-sustaining. It's very clean energy. And this is thanks to Mr. Burnham himself, as he gives us the idea, like, oh, we can use the trash we collect as fuel. The reason I joined this class is because, to be honest, my friends there, they studied, they were really, really great. It's very, very eye-opening. But there's also the aspect that I generally like engineering, as I've seen many people use their engineering skill to make a better change for the world. From making medicine to making technologies that would help life-threatening surgery. So this is one of the main reasons I genuinely joined this class. Yeah, that's basically a basic wrap.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Colleagues, questions for either the teacher or the student?
I'd love to answer any, give any.
Yeah, I have more questions than I would have time to ask. The one thing, so 3D printing, do the students come into your class already having been taught something about 3D printing, or is that just brand new as part of your course?
I can answer that. Mr. Burnham, he expects us to know nothing about anything, from engineering to coding. So he taught us earlier in the beginning, but some students actually knew how it works, and they taught other students. So it was kind of, we learn together as a group, and we do it ourselves. So the 3D printing part is mostly, yes, half student, as we somehow pre-knowledge, and half Mr. Burnham, as he teaches the rest that we need to know.
Well, I'm impressed by that alone, because I got a chance to try it at Westmont one night. It took me 3.5 hours with a student helping me, and I still not exactly know.
Yeah.
So, okay. Who is Dr. Koo?
So Dr. Koo is a benefactor who's interested in this school, and Catherine connected us up with him, and he wanted to help out. He's donated money to my class, he's donated to some other classes, and really just wants to make sure that we have some of the materials and things that we need. So.
And have we all properly thanked Dr. Koo?
I'm assuming we have.
That's us conversation.
Oh,
you don't have to worry
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
And then the donation of chip manufacturing equipment from Flex, does that mean under 100K, under $100,000? That little dash thing?
So.
Total of 3 machines, $200,000.
Yeah, and I think they're underestimating the value of those. But yeah, so there's three pieces of equipment. One of them is a very precise 5-station oven. You can cook cookies with it, but you can also make circuit boards, solder circuit boards. Another one is a silicon. Basically, it's a sewing machine that will connect little wires of silicon to a chip carrier, and so you can actually, take a piece of silicon and actually connect it up, so you can actually hook it up electronically. And then the third piece is kind of an injection molding system that they're using it to make to basically inject mold chips into something. And so we might do some of the similar things like that. But they're all interesting pieces of equipment, which all have the same kind of programming structure to do that's used in a lot of industry environments. So if they learn how to program and control these machines, they then get a skill that's applicable to lots of different of these high-tech manufacturing machines.
So when you got these 3 new goodies, did you already know how to use them, or did you have to really quick teach yourself some new things?
Well, we don't have them yet. They're in the process of delivering them.
Nothing daunts you, does it?
I understand what they do, but like my students, I'm just going to be a few days ahead of them as we out and turn it into actual curriculum that we use in our class.
I'm beyond impressed. Thank you.
I have a question for the students. So how did you hear about this program and decided to sign up?
I heard about this program from the actual Shadow Day, actually, and I seen it on the
Wow.
listing. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'll try it out. I also heard from a couple of older students, as they told me that I see you building things on your free time. I think you like this, and I actually accepted it. And ever since, I don't look back. I was like, I actually enjoyed this class.
Yes. Wow. Okay.
Well, speaking of enjoying, if you enjoyed speaking about your experience, San Jose Unified, which is where I come from, Gunderson is my high school in my trustee area. So if you would like to come speak to us at our board meeting, it's next Thursday, the 16th. So maybe I'll reach out to Principal Dahl and check in with you, and so you can think about it. And you can always say no.
This seems really fun. I think.
And tell me your full name again, just so when I.
Carter Newman, then Hum, but you just call me Carter Newman.
Got it. Thank you so much. Colleagues, anything else?
Just want to mention, I know that some of our students don't go on to 4 years, but I think this program is just it's almost like a stepping stone to, if you want to do that, go to 4 year or go into industry right away. I know two of my three boys have gone to Ecuador and just graduated last year in computer science, and the youngest one started this year at Santa Clara Youth. But what you're doing, all the hands-on, everything that you mentioned is really working in industry. I work for a chip company here in North San Jose. Some of our techs, I mean, they had this knowledge, they can just step in and day one be really instrumental in helping move the company forward. So the skills you're learning are really really important, and thank you for the work that you're doing. And yeah, even this new I saw this donation that was in here. I mean, even the new donation, it's just this is what you would find in industry, right? So I mean, this is really really unique. So take advantage of it.
I will.
I just wanted to say, thank you so much, for Jim. I know every time I walk into his classroom, or have the guests walk into his classroom and see the, engagement and connectedness with the student, it's just an incredible picture, always in my mind about that. And he shared his expertise, with the local student and international community, and people just love him to death. And then even the volunteer, would just admire him, about his classroom, because I know one of the volunteers who used to work for IBM and Applied Material designed the chips, but she just told me that she absolutely loved to be a volunteer in your classroom and see your students thriving in that environment. It's just incredible. So thank you. There's a lot of story behind in your classroom, untold, and gradually hear some of that from another adult. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just struck by the difference between fear and fun. Because, as I've said many times here, I'm really ancient, but I remember college classes I took in science where the goal was to, on the first day of class, sort of intimidate all the students. I think on the theory that we would think, oh, it's time to worry now, and we'd go home and work and study really hard because we'd be kind of fearful that, can we do this? That's not a good operating starting place. And so many of the higher powered classes I took, it was with that big adrenaline rush of fear. You're learning an enormous amount and having fun, and to me that says everything I need to know.
I really appreciate the class I'm in. It taught me a lot. I even made some professional connections, which proved to be very helpful to me, as I made a connection with someone in a company that actually was going to teach me some of their trade, which I'm very happy
Awesome.
about.
Wonderful. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you both
you
so
so
much.
much.
Excellent.